I remain very pessimistic about our chances to really have a big election, to really galvanize key voters, young voters. I can't understand why we're not responding to this 5-alarm fire. But the polls are not were not great, and it tells us that voters are expressing some apprehension here. It's pretty clear.
That was James Carville, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, fed up with the Democratic strategist, Mr. Carville, who has repeatedly expressed concern over Joe Biden's poll numbers. Fetterman telling Politico, quote, "I'll use this as another opportunity to tell James Carville to shut the bleep up. Like I said, my man hasn't been relevant since grunge was a thing, and I don't know why he believes it's helpful to say these kinds of things about an incredibly difficult circumstance with an incredibly strong and decent and excellent president." Talk radio host and American First Policy Institute ambassador Stacy Washington joins me now. Stacy, great to see you here. What does this Dem-on-Dem violence tell you about this split in the Democratic Party between the old guard and the new guard?
Well, to kind of quote Fetterman there's an incredibly difficult circumstance going on with voters in Pennsylvania, which is a huge state that Democrats need to lock up in order to secure 2024 for Biden. And so what we're looking at with over 30,000 of those Democrats switching their registration to R, that means they have trouble there. So James Carville may have been around back when grunge was a thing, but he's still relevant now because he's sounding alarms for the Democrats on their policies that are failing Americans. So, I mean, we're talking about $11,000 worth of extra costs that Americans are bearing on a yearly basis to live the lifestyle they had during the Trump years. And that's something important. And Fetterman's, he's tone deaf here.
Carville responded by saying, "I've never met this man, to be honest with you, but I guess he's the proclaimer of relevance in modern American politics." But I'm really glad you brought up what's happening in Pennsylvania, because, like you said, this is really bad news for President Biden in what really is his home state, Scranton Joe. You know, he moved to Delaware, but he considers himself Scranton Joe. Scranton's in Pennsylvania. More than 35,000 registered Democrats switched their party affiliation to Republican this year, like you mentioned. Keep in mind, Joe Biden only won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. So you have 35 switching their registration this year. If this trend continues into 2024, is Joe Biden at real risk of losing the Keystone State?
So I would say yes. And this is also because President Biden doesn't have a propensity for changing his policy directions as Bill Clinton did. If you think back to the Bill Clinton years, after he was impeached, he really ran for the fences and tried to make changes on policy that would impact Americans and shore up his legacy as a great president. And he was able to usher in, with the help of Newt Gingrich, an amazing economic boom that really salvaged his presidency. Biden doesn't appear to have that ability to pivot and to make changes in order to benefit Americans. And that's why voters are looking more seriously at the front runner on the Republican side, which is President Trump.
Okay, so take both of these together. You have, on the high level, these politicos, a senator and a strategist attacking each other. But at the granular level, you have lifelong Democrats in a union state like Pennsylvania saying, I can't be part of this party anymore. So taking all of that, again, I refer to it as Dem-on-Dem violence, but I think it goes deeper than that. There's a panic level inside the Democratic Party right now. Does that panic level just totally change the face of the 2024 election? Regardless, of who the Republican candidate is.
So regardless of who the GOP actually nominates, who goes up against Biden in the fall, the issues facing the Democrats are systemic, and the panic is real because they know these are things they've advocated for, and their base, the activist base, won't allow them to withdraw from. So I'm talking about their horrible energy policy, which refuses to allow us to drill on American lands, refusing to allow us to be net energy producers, refusing to look at the median household income for a family of four, which has dropped after rising consistently for 4 years in a row under President Trump. So if you look at every single metric, whether it's the price of chicken thighs at the grocery store, the cost of your energy at home to heat your home, or the cost of energy at the pump, the numbers are trending in the wrong direction under Democrats, and they don't have the ability to shift policy-wise and make that change. So the panic is actually a sign of what is to come in 2024, and I believe we're going to see a change in the White House because of it.
And let's also keep in mind, you can keep your party affiliation and vote for whoever you want. You can vote for a Republican. But the fact that they're switching to Republican and disavowing the Democratic Party, that seems to be extremely telling as well. Final thoughts to you, 10 seconds, Stacy.
Well, in Pennsylvania, in order to vote in the primary, you do have to actually be registered for that party. So they're switching their registrations because they want to vote for a particular candidate. We'll just have to see who that is.
I think it's interesting because once you make that commitment, yeah, you could ostensibly go back, but it seems like you're all in for the Republicans now. You want to vote in the primary and you also want to vote in the general. We'll see what happens. Stacy, thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.